what's up? John Sonmez from simpleprogrammer.com. So I've had this question sitting on my board for a while here, which is how to deal with friends or relatives that smoke. And I thought I'd finally get around to this. I actually used to be a smoker. I will admit that occasionally I will still smoke, but when I say occasionally, I mean like once every like 4 or 5 months, or if I'm in Vegas, basically, which is not very often at all. And then I'm done. And it's something that I've been able to do that I realize that most people can't do. So I wouldn't encourage it, but it's, you know, I'm one of those people also that believes that it's not even moderation. It's just that, like, you got to make choices. Like, it's not, there's nothing that's like super bad in itself, right? Even like, you know, I don't know if you've seen my videos, and I'll probably do a video on this, on my stance on like drugs or narcotics, like illegal substances. I wouldn't say it's bad every time. In fact, when I attack these things, when I attack a lot of these things that I don't like, I don't like them because they're crutches, and I try to not talk about a moralistic viewpoint of it. I try to talk about a practical, how's it pragmatic to your life, and some of these things are destructive. Obviously, smoking, the reason why it's bad, quote bad, is because it's destructive to your life. It will kill you. If you're a habitual smoker, you're going to severely limit your lifespan, right? It's going to cause severe damage to you. But let's go ahead and get into the question here. So he says, "Hi, John. I believe I have a pretty original question for you." Actually, a couple of people asked me recently. So he says here, "My question is, how do you deal with friends or relatives who smoke? I'm someone who hates it and being around people smoking, but for example, my uncle, who is a very decent guy, often smokes in the car with me present, especially on long car journeys, 2 hours-ish. I've given strong hints to him to have cigarettes during stop-offs on the way, and believe I've made it clear I don't like to be in the car during it, but it doesn't seem to have fully sunk in. Is there a way to approach this without being pushy? Is it unreasonable to ask this of him? Am I normal to feel a strong disrespect for smokers in general? Thanks in advance. Either a short email reply or video reply would be helpful." So this is from Anton. So I've got definitely a few, I want to address a lot of the questions in here. So there's a few things here. So first of all, let's talk about this idea of disrespecting, having a strong disrespect for smokers in general. I'm sort of on a mixed boat on this, right? Having been a former smoker, some people are going to go nuts and say, "No, you're still a smoker. It doesn't matter. If you smoke once every 6 months, that makes you a smoker." Okay, whatever. I don't care. Like, whatever you want to call or label someone. You know, the thing is, like, there's not very, you know, there's always blurred lines between things here. We can't just like draw straight lines. And so the question is, like, how does this impact your life? Well, like, what is it? And that's the thing that we need to look at. But as far as having disrespect, I have somewhat of a disrespect, right? And the reason why is not because, oh, you're a smoker. Oh, smoker. You're destroying people's lungs, and, you know, and all this kind of hypocritical type of viewpoint, of judging viewpoint. It's more of this, that the disrespect that I would have for a person that is a habitual smoker is that they lack discipline. It's the same thing as that I would have for a fat person, right? Because they lack discipline. Some people are going to get all upset, but that's fine. But it's the truth, right? I mean, there's not a lot of people, and there's some people maybe that want to smoke, and they want to continue to smoke, and they want to be fat, and they want to continue to be fat, and they just don't give a shit, and that's fine, and that's what they like. They like that. But most people who are smokers say they want to quit, and most people who are fat say they want to be thin. They don't want to be fat. And so there's just no way of escaping, even though it hurts people's feelings, even though it may make you cry and go find your safe space. I understand it. It's cool. We can still be friends. But it's the truth, right? It means that they have some kind of lacking of discipline. They're not able to accomplish in their life what they want to. They have a weakness, and that is a crutch, okay? So food can be a crutch, drugs can be a crutch, sex can be a crutch, pornography can be a crutch, and smoking can be a crutch. And smoking is often a crutch. And I know it because it was a crutch for me for a very long time. And some people would even still say, well, you know, you're still using it to some degree, like even if it's every 6 months. I get what you're saying, but it's no longer a crutch. for me, right? It's not something I depend on, that I have to have, that is compensating for some other weakness in my life, and is destroying my self-discipline, because it's this area that I can't master in my own life. So as far as having the disrespect for him, I think I wouldn't say disrespect. I would say having an understanding, right? I mean, you should be respectful of people. You shouldn't be like, oh, I disrespect this person because they have a weakness. We all have weaknesses, right? It's more of understanding they have a weakness and not having a reverence for it. Like someone who is being controlled and is using multiple crutches, especially if they're using multiple crutches, you can't quite have the respect for them that you would have for someone who is not, right? Because you don't necessarily have to have a disrespect for them, but you know that they are using crutches, that they are not, it's not the kind of role model or person that you're going to say, wow, this person has a strong sense of self-respect and a strong sense of self-discipline that I should model after. So that's what I mean by that. So I can totally understand that, but I think there's a lot of people that would judge people based on oh, this is icky, and that's kind of silly. Like, there's this, you see what I'm saying? There's like an understanding, like an actual understanding of why someone would do something and why it's harmful, that is a little bit different than just saying, oh, this is bad, therefore the people who do this is bad. There's too much of that today. Okay, we need to understand a little bit more depth than that. But to answer the question about the car thing here, so I don't know what your age is, right? I don't know, like, if you're a minor or not and you have to drive in your uncle's car. But here's the thing, okay, you are your own man and he is his own man. If he wants to smoke in his car, and you've sort of told him, hey, well, there's a couple things. First of all, just tell him flat out. Just be like, look, I don't appreciate smoking, and I don't want to be around cigarettes. If you're gonna smoke in the car, it's your car. You can do whatever you want, but I'm not gonna ride in the car. And I'm not doing that because I don't like you. I'm not doing that to be like trying to convince you to quit or to influence your behavior. You can do whatever you want. If you want me in the car, like if you want to take smoke breaks, I'll totally wait for you for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and sit in the car and play my iPhone or whatever. But that's where I'm at. I have to I'm my own man. I got to make my own decisions, and this is what I'm choosing. Okay, he might not take that well, but suck it up. Suck it up, Buttercup. You gotta still say that. You gotta still do that. You gotta stand up for what you decide. Now, before you go down that road, I will tell you that, I don't know, again, I don't have enough information. I don't know how frequently you're sitting in the car with your uncle smoking, but is it really that big of a deal? Like, you got to decide if this is the hill that you want to die on, if it's worth it, if it's worth making that stand. If it is, and you're like, no, shit, I'm driving with this dude like 5 days a week. Secondhand smoke here. I feel like it is going to be harmful to me. Then I'm going to take my stand. I'm going to tell him. Then fine, then do it. But if you're like, every once a month or so, you're sitting in the car with him for 2 hours while he's smoking, and he's got the window rolled down and stuff, he's not hotboxing the thing, it's not going to hurt you. I'm not a doctor. This is not medical advice, but come on, really? People smoke like 2 to 3 packs a day. Like, that's, okay, sure, first-hand smoke 2 to 3 packs a day, yeah. And I know that people make this whole big thing about secondhand smoke, and I know that there's, quote, evidence for secondhand smoke. And I'm not, like, when I say the quotes, I'm not doubting it. I'm just saying that, like, sitting in a car for 2 hours once a week or once a month with someone with the window rolled down, like, just use your freaking brain, right? I'm not, trying to call you out specifically, but use your brain. It's not going to harm you. It's not going to be a huge harm. Now, I could be just totally full of shit because I'm not a doctor, and I'm not certainly not giving you medical advice here. I'm just saying, from a logical perspective, my opinion is that's it's crazy, right? Again, you're going to have to decide for yourself what it is. But if you decide, be a fucking man and say what it is, right? Just tell him, like, look, straight up, this is like what I said, this is what I'm willing to do. I'm not going to try and tell you what you have to do, but this is, and don't give a why. This is the other thing, is don't get sucked into why, right? Because that's what's going to happen when you have this kind of conversation, is that the person's going to want to suck you in with why. They're going to want to say, well, why do you think this? You think that I'm better than you? You think you're better than me? You think, why do you think that this is harmful? It doesn't fucking matter. You have decided this. You've made this decision, and you've said that I will not be around, and I do not want to expose myself to cigarettes in the car. Therefore, I'm not going to. No whys, right? I did this video on don't offer excuses, right? Where I talked about not explaining yourself, right? And this is one of those situations where it's really critical, because if you get sucked into that why, if you get sucked into that explaining yourself, you're either going to get convinced, right? Something that you don't want to be convinced of, or you're just going to create bad blood. It's going to become a personal thing. Whereas you can keep it as a non-personal thing. Your uncle still is probably going to get offended. I'm telling you, he probably will, because he's going to take it personally. But you can make it minimal damage as possible by just laying it out, and then you just have to live with those consequences and let him decide, right? That's how I would play this situation. Again, for those of you that don't like this perspective, I totally get it. But you know what? Reality is reality, right? You've got to face reality. And when you've got something that you're using as a crutch, I'm talking to you that don't like that, you call it what it is, right? That's all I'm saying. It doesn't mean you can't. Again, I want to say this as well. It doesn't mean we can't have compassion for people. It doesn't mean we can't treat them with respect. But we need to see reality clearly first. If you can't see reality clearly, and you're coddling people, and you're afraid of hurting people's feelings, and you're afraid of saying the truth because you're going to hurt someone's feelings, well, that's bullshit. It's not going to help them. It's not going to help you, and it's going to create this. It's going to contribute to this hypersensitive environment that we're all living in and suffering the consequences of today. If you like this video, go ahead and click that subscribe button below. If you haven't already, I would definitely appreciate it. And if you have a comment, if you have a suggestion, leave it below. I'll talk to you next time. Take care.